So the next thing that we will need to focus on maybe is this bear here. As you see, the bear is standing, and if you refer to the video, you will see that the bear is not standing in that video, it is sitting. So what we are going to do is work a little bit with the animation to show you how to get this bear to sit down instead of stand up. So what we want to do is go ahead and go to this specific bear in our model manipulation box in the drop down menu and just choose that bear. You might have to click around a bit to figure out which is which. Okay, and so we have this bear. And since we already know these bones work differently from other bones, then we have to be careful how we move it. And of course the language is not in English, so we will just have to figure out what each bone is. And if you look at the body of the model, you'll pretty much be able to pinpoint each bone and joint and what they do. So anyways, we're going to go over here into our frame manipulation box right here, this big box with all these dots here. And what we want to do is make our panda sit down. So I want to explain about the bone and frame manipulation box. So all these points you see here, those would be called keyframes. And what each of these points are doing is pretty much saving a pose you have done, so registering a pose you have done. So each of these dots is a different pose, a different position that you have posed the character in. And as you go through, you see that each of those poses are saved, and basically what it's doing is kind of like if you were to do just a flat animation and draw each position. It's kind of like that, except for each pose in here. So if you were to do every single pose for the animation, you wouldn't have to do like a ton of poses. Not in MMD, because once you do one pose, like you say you're here, and then you go ahead and do the other pose, like right on here, from there to there, MMD knows how to calculate that on its own, those frames, so you don't have to do every single frame by yourself. And it makes it much easier to work with the program. Okay, so now what we want to do is get the bear to sit down. So first off, we need to figure out what each bone is. So I know this is the leg, which it says Omo R, and this is a leg, which says Momo L. And then we need to locate the head, which says Kubi. So anything that you don't want to change, you want it add to your you want to add to the bones you're going to choose to change. So basically I'm going to show you how to do it. So first we're going to click this bone, which is the leg, and we're just going to go ahead and rotate that into position. And we want the bear to look as if the bear is sitting down. And as I said, you can use either these or these, but for rotating bones, you particularly want to use these that are in the box. Okay, and you just want to generally make the bear look like it is sitting down. Okay, now that your bear look like it's in a good enough sitting down pose, you want to select all and register it, and you want to usually make sure you're on frame 0. So I'm just gonna rotate the bones back into place since I wasn't on frame 0. You want to make sure you're on whatever frame you need to be on so you don't have to do the work again. And or you can just copy and paste it back into the right location. But we're gonna get these bones rotated back into place. So we're gonna rotate. Okay, and now once we rotated them, we want to select all and make sure we click register so we don't lose what we just done. And now you see kind of like the bear is floating in the air, and so we want the bear to sit down here, right? So what we would do is just, you know, select whichever bone, because this one works with one bone that allows the whole model to be moved. So we're going to choose whichever bone that is, so it's that one. And we're just going to go ahead and put that bear on the ground so it could look as if it is sitting down in front of the milk bottle. Okay, so like that, right? And register. And as you see, we have worked with only 3 of those bones. So generally what we probably want to do is just select those bones and paste them through the frames, because if you look, so the bear's sitting here, but if we click through like that, then you automatically see the bear jumps out of its pose. And why is that? Well, of course it's because this first frame that we just registered here is not registered for all these frames. So we would actually have to go through and register what we did for every single frame. And so I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to show you how to get through it a bit quickly. So first we need the bones we've edited here. So we've edited the Hara bone and the 2 Momo bones. So those are the ones we need to find here. And as you see, as you click these bones here, you see they highlight over here in red. So it makes it easier to know which bone to choose or which bone to select. So we'll select this one and both the Momo bones. And this is just going to be a quick test run because I think I did this once before and then it all went awry. But this is generally how this works, but since this is a model with weird bones, I think I'm having trouble with it. But this should work right here. So just to do a quick test run, we're just going to copy those bones, right? And then we're going to go over to the next keyframe, which is, the next frame, which is number 2. And we're going to paste. And as you see, the one bone jumped in place and the other thing worked, but for some reason, for some odd means, this leg didn't do what it was supposed to do. So let's just try to rotate that leg into the proper position. Just rotate it like that. And select this one. And rotate it. Whoops, wrong one. Select the Momo bone. Just select. For some reason, these didn't act right that time. But anyways, we're just gonna select it and register. So every bone that you move into a different position, you would need to, okay, so I see. There's another Momo R as well, and these aren't obviously, let's rotate. These are the legs. So we were choosing the wrong bones, and each time you need to make sure you're on the correct bone, and it may take a few clicks, but make sure you're on the correct bone that moves the leg. So that's rotating the leg, and as we know, there should be another one. So nope. Let's see. This one says to rotate. Okay, so it's these two here. So we got this one, and when we select, we've got this one. So it's actually these two. I think it's this one, maybe. Yeah, it's this one. So you have this one, and then you're going to shift select it, and then we're going to select the other bone, which was the horror bone here, and let's copy it and paste it and see if we got the correct bones. You need to have the correct bones that you're doing, and we're just going to paste it on the next frame. So we're going to paste it here, and something still went wrong. So something isn't quite making sense. We got to figure out what it is. So this is a mobile bone. We're going to rotate that here. This should be registered. Okay. Let me see if that's... Okay, that's a problem. So we didn't register it last time, and just to be clear, we need to make sure we register each thing we do every single time, or you're going to lose that data and you can end up very confused. So now that we know what it is, let's make sure we get the correct bones now. So we got those. We're going to copy them, and we're going to go ahead and go over to the next frame, which is here. Now you see the feet is in the ground. Now this should completely work right this time. So we're going to go ahead and paste that, and as you see, both the legs came up again this time. So generally, this is how this works. You put the bones in a certain position and make sure you register them on the points you want them to be, right? So what you need to do to make sure this bear stays sitting on the ground is go through all these frames, which could be from 2,000 to 5,000 frames, and to go through there and paste this that many times will be very tedious, but I'm going to show you an easy method to get you through it. So the first step we're going to go ahead is paste each of our new pose into at least 100 frames first. So start pasting it and at least paste it into 100 frames first. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So we're going to go through all the way until we get 100 frames. Okay, so now that we made it to 100, we got 100 frames selected, and now it's time to talk about the next step. So the next thing you want to do is go right here down to this panel here where it says copy, paste, reverse, first select, and delete. Cell, bone, range, select, expand. So here is where you can make the process go much faster and easier for yourself. So first we're going to use this drop down menu to choose the bones we have changed. So I know I have changed this Momo left bone, and so I'm gonna choose from, in this box, I'm gonna choose from 0 to 100, and you have to type those in. And this is gonna select all those frames for me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do a range select, which I will click this right here. It says range select, and as you see, they all highlighted red, so it selected all the frames from 0 to 100. And we're gonna do that for each bone we have changed. So now we're gonna go to the next bone, and we're gonna range select it the same, and we're gonna go ahead and go to our other bone, which is this one, and we're going to range select that as well. So we have just selected all of the frames we have just done, and so we're just gonna go I accidentally clicked off of it. Hold up a second, let me get them back. Okay, so now that you have done that, you want to click this copy button, copy, and now we're going to go ahead and go back to frame 100, and right here on the next frame, the very next frame, you just want to paste all those frames you just copied. And now automatically that has registered 100 more frames, and you don't have to like go through each and every frame pasting. But if we want to even get even more frames, then we're just going to do the same step again. But in this box here, right under frame manipulation, we're just gonna go to what we assume to be the next frame, which is 200. Click enter, and it's gonna jump right to the last frame we're on, so which is 202. And from our box down here, we're just going to select our bones again, the same bones, 202, and we're just gonna range select. And as you notice, if we just go over here, back over here to 0, it selected all of those frames now. So we're just gonna jump back to 202, and we're gonna make sure we copy those. Make sure you always copy first, and then go to your next frame, and then paste that. Which for some reason, wow, only chose, because we only selected one. So we're gonna select that, and we're gonna range select. Make sure you select all of your bones. This program could get very irritating, tedious if you do not register your work. If you do not make sure you register, is pretty much like saving if you do not save the things you've done. So we're just gonna copy those and then paste them here. So we're gonna click paste, and now that has registered for us 200 frames, and we can keep going up and up. But what I learned is you can't go past 1,000 frames. It will shut your whole program down. So I would say just go about to maybe 500, or you can even try 800 and stop there of the frames you're gonna copy. You don't want to surpass 1,000 frames. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump to 400, which we assume the last frame would be. So here we are on 405. So I'm just going to range select that, and then that's the last I'm going to do of that. So we're just gonna make sure we go to 406 right here, and we're gonna range select each of those. So we're gonna go through each and do the same process to make sure you have them all. And lastly, this one. Okay, just to make sure you have them all, and make sure we copy, and then go ahead here and then paste. And now that we have all those frames, once we keep going through and pasting, we should get done with this much faster. So basically that's what you want to do. And so it's just change your model's position, Once you have the position you want, register on 0, copy those, paste all those up to 100 frames. Once you get to 100, then use this here to range select all the way up to 100, and then paste all the frames you have done. And the key is to continue this multiple times to at least you've done it where you have at least 400 frames collected or more. Just don't surpass 1,000. I would say it's safe to keep it just at 500 frames or below. And just do it that way. And so once you have 500 frames or so, then just go through and continue to paste these in each until you get each frame changed. And this is going to make your process faster. So what we're going to do is go ahead and complete this pasting in our now collected like 500 frames. We're going to paste them in each destination. So I hope I'm making this clear. It may not be clear, but let's hope. So I think this may be on 800. So yeah, so we're on frame 800 right now. And this is going to make the process much easier to get through. So now from here, since we have that many selected, we're not going to do that again. We're just going to go ahead and paste all the way through. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that you have those all pasted, for me those were over like 15,000 frames. So I doubt the song is that long, so I just think somebody maybe just made the animation extremely long for this bear. So I just went ahead and stopped at 15,000 because I'm pretty sure the song is not that long. Like for a 3-minute video, it's like only 5,000 frames, and for it to have 15,000 frames, then yeah, that's above and beyond. So now that you have all those pasted, now you'll see that your bear will have an everlasting pose now, and it will not get out of its pose. So what we're going to go ahead and do is press play so you can see that now you have another pose with still the head swaying back and forth. And this is because you chose certain bones that you wanted to change and then pasted them throughout the video. And I've shown you an easy way to get through the pacing, because as you see, it could be very tedious.